baby girl, but you'll never hear me complain.
Okay, I think we've waited enough. We don't want to waste too much time because of our people in Nigeria that they may have to go offline soon. So I think we'll just dive into today's episode of Mind Matters. So once again, I welcome everyone. If you want to come up, please send requests because it's always an interactive one. You know, we like when we make it so much interactive. Yeah, so my name is Frankly Speaking with Mo, as you've always known. And with me, I have Mind Matters himself. Mind Matters, you want to say hello to everyone?
Good evening, everyone, and it's good to have you here again. Hopefully, we'll have a wonderful time as usual. Sit tight, relax, get your pen and papers, and let's write together.
Okay, so we are still on back to the basics. How we were built. It is important we note and remind ourselves that mind matters, your mind matters, my mind matter, all our minds matters. So, this journey is a deep dive into the human mind. Omobari Bidesi, I see you. So this journey is a deep dive into the human mind, identity, trauma, purpose, and the blueprint of being. Each structure includes opening hooks, questions for listeners, metaphors, expert level insights, and engagement. Cues so you feel seen, involved, and changed by each episode. That's the point. So,
So, last week, we explored the roof of our built house, where we looked at our three quiet joys, our values that's our non negotiable five values, and our spiritual identity and the blueprint of who we are meant to be. We were looking last week from the view from above, right? Where we identified that every house has a roof. And just like every house has a roof, every human being has one too. Now, that roof is where the storms hit first, but it's also where the sunlight lands. Your roof is your purpose, your values, your soul, your sense of higher meaning, and the part of you that knows who you are meant to be. That's your roof. All right. Now, this week, we will examine the disruption when the blueprint became damaged. That's what we want to examine this week because every house has a moment it is tested, every soul has a moment it is reshaped. And we'll look at the first part of it, which is the crack in the wall. If you know, every human being comes into this world with a clean blueprint, a design filled with curiosity, a design filled with courage, softness, and possibility. But life is not always gentle, as we all know, and pain does not knock before entering. So sometimes the blueprints get scratched in some cases. Other times, it might just get torn, as in tear apart. And other times it gets completely rearranged. This is not because we are weak. It is actually because survival demanded it. I'm going to stop here for a minute and allow that sink. Um, I'm going to take it again. This is the crack in the wall, right? I want all of us to that every human being in the world came with a clean blueprint, right? A design filled with curiosity, courage, softness, and possibility. But again, we know that life is not always gentle, so the pain does not knock before entering. So that sometimes you find that this clean blueprint we brought when we were born would get scratched. Sometimes it might even get torn apart. Other times it might be rearranged, you know, not because we are weak, to be honest, but more because survival will demand it and actually does demand it, right? So think about that for a minute and then we'll carry on with it. So what I'm gonna do now, or what we're gonna do, frankly speaking, is gonna help us with some very nice stories to put in perspective what I've just talked to you about. So our first story is going to be looking at. Don't forget, we are examining the crack in the wall. So the first story will address the approval seeker. So there are people who seek approval by their conduct. The things they do, all they do is to, is towards seeking approval of people for whatever reason. Now, the child who learned to perform for love, for example, if that will make sense. Frankly speaking, over to you.
Yeah, so the child who learned to perform for love. Imagine a little girl named Maya. She is 5 years old, sitting at the edge of the living room, holding up a drawing, a house with crooked lines, a son that smiles, and two stick figure parents holding hands. She waits. She waits for someone to look at her art. She waits for someone to say, well done. She waits for someone to notice her existence. But no one looks up. Her father is arguing in a voice thick with disappointment. Her mother is walking on eggshells, whispering apologies. Nobody has emotional space to celebrate a child. Maya lowers the paper. Quietly, slowly, without a sound. The first crack appears in her blueprint. From that day, Maya learns a new truth. Love must end.
Oh, can you mention it? Mind matter.
From that day, Maya learns a new truth. Love must be end. Validation must be performed for. Approval is safer. Approval is safer than authenticity. Achievement is the only language adults understand. By age 10, she is the good girl, polite, quiet, perfect. By age 15, she is the high achiever, top of her class, exhausted, terrified of failure. By age 25, she cannot tell where her true self ends and where her performance begins. She does not know how to rest. She only knows how to impress. Because somewhere deep inside, a 5-year-old is still holding up a drawing, waiting for someone to say, I see you. So I'm going to ask you, our listeners, to close your eyes for 5 seconds. Think about a moment when you learned you had to earn love or attention. Where were you? What did you do? How old were you?
And if anybody wants to share answers to this question and how they experienced it, please feel free to do so before we move on to the next bit. You're also welcome to, share your opinions in the comment section if you don't want to come up.
So, anyone? We just want to look back at our childhood. Did we struggle for love and attention? Or it came freely? If you did struggle, how old were you before you got noticed by people that matter to you? Your parents, your teachers, or were you ignored and you had to seek for attention one way or the other?
What we're trying to help each other figure out is to look at our adulthood through the lens of our childhood as much as we can remember. I promise you it will open a whole lot of Pandora's box, if you like, or even more information about what you truly don't understand yet.
King Omogbala, Omoba understands and speaks English very well. He just likes to shoot trouble. So I'm very sure Omoba is with us. Nobody needs to interpret for Omoba. When he wants to, be a troubleshooter or be sarcastic, that's when he comes for us for speaking English. Omoba, is there anything?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. Happy weekend to you all.
Welcome.
Good morning, good afternoon, in any part of the world you are.
I will go you.
Rexy, please.
Regarding to the explanation from the host, by the way, no matter how rich or how popular your parent is, your struggle, your determination determine your future.
Okay, Omoba, this is what we are doing. Hold on, sir. This is what we are doing. You've not been with us for the past 3 episodes, and I'm glad you are here. So what we are trying to do is we are trying to look at our life right now, where we are, what kind of person we are. And we want to, use that to go back to our child, because we all believe that whatever we become now, wherever we are, is as a result of our childhood, how we were made, how we were made to believe that life is, right? Now, in this episode, what we are trying to look at is, did we, as a child, if you look at your life now and you think like, oh, I want validation from people. I want people to see me. And every of your action is about that. Getting people to notice you, getting people to love you, getting people to accept you. It means if you look back to your childhood, you were begging for attention from your parents or from whoever mattered to you at that time. Were you that kind of child that you were not noticed until, something happens, then they have to notice you? Or did you get love and attention easily? Like everything you do, kushe mommy, pele okomi. Were you that kind of child? But if you were the kind of child that begged for attention, but on a good day, nobody notices what you are doing, right or wrong. It is when something goes wrong, what's here? You understand. Were you that kind of child? How old were you?
Perhaps when you achieve, or perhaps when you do something extraordinary, is when they
Extraordinary,
notice that,
yeah. Yeah.
well done, correct. How did you do it?
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that, all that kind of stuff. So it's like a once in a while time you get noticed when something out of the ordinary happens. So were you that kind of child? And how does that affect you now as an adult? So the
I think
question
I'm
now
getting.
is, where were you then? And what did you do? And how old were you when you had these experiences? Because this is the first part of looking at where the blueprint cracked, the crack in the wall of the blueprint. We've just said that we were born all clean. We came with clean blueprints and all of that. But from our foundation, which is our biological makeup, contributed to by our parents, to our experiences, starting from what our parents told us life should be or what life looks like, then add what we learned along the way as we were growing, and then who we become now. If you sum all of this up, we want to now look at your journey as an adult now through the lens of your childhood.
Sir,
So
I
where
think
did that crack happen is what we are trying to find out now.
from both the host and the co-host, I'm getting your point, and I know where you're heading to. Initially in life, as a child, once you are 5 years and above, I'm not talking of a dummy child, a kind of a well brought up child, and you should know your left to your right. You have an ambition and determination of what you want to be. To me, when I was growing up, I grew up under my mother and father. I have a determination that this is what I want to be. But being the only son, I got spoiled a little bit. That is when I diverted from my original plan. And why that happened is this. My father spoiled me a little, which my mother was very harsh on me, because being the only son, don't spoil him for me, this and that, whatever. My initial plan in life is to become a military personnel. Maybe by soldier or whatever, military or paramilitary. To the extent that I have to join a Boy Scout when I'm in primary school. On the course of don't spoil my child though, this is the only son or whatever. I didn't achieve that aim when the times come. Because by the time I'm supposed to have faced my education, I'm already in Lagos trying to join my brother, my father younger one to become a trader. So I lose the track by coming to Lagos in the early 70s. If I did not, I would have been maybe a major general or a retired by now. But I lose the track. I lose the focus. Not because of anything, because of the goodies that is in Lagos. You know, olden days, when you see people that come from Lagos as good as you people that are in Canada or US or London now, that is what Lagos were. So we that we come from the bush or the rural area, I can call it. But things happened. At this age now, you cannot reverse whatever has gone wrong in your earlier age. You can't. So if I'm getting your question and point correctly, what I plan initially to be in my life, that is not what I am today. Though I think I can manage the position I find myself. I still give glory to the God Almighty.
So, given what you have said, do you find that now in the things you do, you tend to want to get people's approval by what you do? So
You mean by now?
yeah, became she carry me.
Carry me. I want
Come
to
with me, me. You know, people should love me. People should see what I'm doing and praise me. Do you find yourself doing those kind of things? Do you find that is what is driving your
action.
goal-getting experience? Yeah, your actions. So you
No,
get
no,
things
no.
done because you want people to notice that yes, you are there, you are getting things done, you know, for them to praise you. Is that why you get things done, or you just do it?
No. To me personally, because your question trying to do with personal experience and aspect of life, I don't do anything to impress anybody. I do things to impress myself.
Yeah.
I may
So
prefer to be in the
the other,
I'm answering
carry
your
on.
question, sir. Maybe
Yeah,
after my
carry on.
analysis or after my submission, you might pick and all ask a question. I will answer you, sir. I do things in my own way. I don't do things to impress anybody. Ordinary clothes, I don't wear it to impress anybody. I do things, but no matter how I hide myself, people still notice me. I don't know why. I don't just do.
Okay,
Hope
Omoba.
I've answered your question,
Yes,
sir.
yes, you did. Yeah. Um, you see, what we are trying to do is look back at our childhood, how we started up to this moment that affected who we are. And honestly, we want to be totally, if we want change, we want to be totally honest with ourselves. So what we are trying to know is that, do you think you are the kind of person that gbogbo bí tẹ́ bá dé, ẹ máa ń fẹ́ kán rí yín, ẹ máa ń fẹ́ kán nífẹ̀ẹ́ yín, you want to be seen, you want to be acknowledged, you want to be loved? Are you that kind of a person? Yes or no? Ẹ má ṣàlàyé kankan. Is a yes?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I don't want to show myself. I don't do it.
Okay, sir. All right. Mind matters. Are we okay with that?
Yeah. The other side of it also could be the fact that whatever experiences might have made that child grow up into an adult who doesn't care to please anyone because nobody will notice anyway. So that's the other side of it. Do you see? So Again, anybody else who wants to talk
Or
can speak to
someone
either
that
side.
gets, noticed easily and loved easily, without even seeking validation is another aspect, right?
Yeah, but
Uh,
that
I,
would generally be the healthy
good
one.
evening, everybody. Mind and
Good evening,
Matters,
bro.
Sister Lee, Zest, Omoba, King of Vigilante, Buresi, and Ayaba Fenturu. Well, I just need to like speak for a while before I stand up because I'll soon be going out. Uh, if I understand what we are saying and the question so far, I I felt love when I was young. I feel loved by my parents, probably because I happened to be the only son. And later I lost the love with my character, Iromotimu lawyer. So I lost it from my parents. But the moment I lost it too, they still show it that our big but they were different in our dealings to the extent that they don't talk to me. They will talk to me by writing paper on the dining table for me to like just read the anything they want to pass across to me. They won't talk to me. To the extent they want to give me money, if I ask for money, they won't talk. They won't say yes or no. But when I wake up in the morning, I'll just see the money on the table. They'll just put a jar or a cup on it, not to fly away. And I know I've lost it all. If my parents can go to this far, how will the community accept me? And to the extent that my dad did not believe I went to school until the day of my graduation convocation. Despite the fact he knows I will leave home, I will pack my bag, and I'm going to school. But he came for my convocation, and when he saw the program, today he photoed me. That was when he stood up and walked up to where I am and said, "Congratulations." That was the day I regained the love back. And today, when I reflect on my journey and where I am today, it's only God. God saved me, honestly, because I lost it all. And to the extent that my parents were planning that all what they have, they will will it out before they die because the trust was not more there. But today, they can't do anything without me. They can't. But nobody talked to me. I gain it back myself. I talk to myself. That was what I keep telling people at times. You can't power sọ̀rọ̀ better to come power sọ̀rọ̀ ńgbà mi. Those are the mechanisms I put in place when I remember when I came back home, I want to go back to school. And my dad said he walked. Let university marun. Bolo ṣe fẹ́ lọ. And God helped me. And they gave my first semester when I decided to go back to school, that I'm using the certificate today. They gave me the school fees again. I still spent it. Until they send message to the parent where if your child did not pay school fees, they won't write the exam. And my mom called me to some school. And the moment I start stammering, she just shook her head. Well, no. And that was the day my dad just zero his mic. It's over. Until I graduated, they didn't give me my school fees again. They paid on their own. My mom will always pay, and my dad will not always attend to me. But at the end of it, though, my father believed I went to school when he came for the convocation and said, "Wow, you made it." And I didn't just made it, I make them proud. Because out of, at least I collected like 4 best courses in some courses. Best student in social course. And the moment they mentioned the son name, my dad would smile. That was the day I regained the love they have for me. Until today, I feel loved. And I always give God, I thank God I have good parents. But some of my peers could not make it up again. They did not. They did not. They did not. So that's it.
Thank you very much, Mo, for sharing this part. In fact, your story is proof that I was, when we were talking about pain does not knock before entering, and that sometimes the blueprint gets scratched, gets torn. But your story is actually proof that the blueprint can completely be rearranged. So again, thank you very much for sharing that. I'll leave the mic for whoever else wants to share their experience. Thank you, Mofi.
Hello.
Yeah.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening, sis.
I really want to say what I want to my contribution. Then I can go back to the comment section. So I'm here now.
Okay.
I beg my question. No, let me know.
Yeah. So the question is, as a child, were you noticed? Were you easily loved? Like everything you do, every little thing you do, you acknowledge. Oshel call me. Otishe, well done. Da, da, da. Were you that kind of child, or were you the kind of child that whatever you do, no matter how good it is, nobody notices until you do something extraordinary? Then somebody will say, she will lo she, Paolo she, talo be she, Umarele she. Are you that kind of child? If you were the kind of child that was like not easily acknowledged or was not easily shown love, how old were you at the time you were first, get recognized? How old were you? Where were you? And how did it happen?
And also to help further, just to help your answer, we are looking at the crack in the wall in the blueprint that we came with. The original blueprint was clean. The design was hopeful and all of that. But then at some point there was a crack in the wall. So there are one of the cracks we're addressing now is that of the approval seeker. So a child who wasn't noticed when they were young, and that then made them, keep running and running, forgetting to rest because they were trying to impress and get noticed. So getting noticed is what fueled their endeavors, their running, their, whatever. So focus on that. We're treating the approval seeker. Were you a child that wasn't noticed when you were growing up? And even if you were noticed when you were growing up, how has that shaped you now in your endeavor to achieve?
Okay. Uh, Thank you, everyone. I was noticed from that, like I wrote in the comments section, because I noticed I was told when they gave birth to me. I remember even up to now, my cousins and some of our family members used to still say, thing change. So at that time, I happened to be one one white thing that Yabeji was saying that mi o ma lost on Ibo Motiri Afin BBB, and it was, so I would say I was noticed from birth. So, and because of my complexion and the kind of person I am, and I didn't talk in time. I was not. I remember I started talking when I was like 5. So it was really a very big one for the family, and most people were like, "Ọmọ tó rí báyìí kò sọ̀rọ̀, ẹ ṣe báyìí, ẹ ṣe báyìí." So I was always like a topic for them in the house. That is another thing. And I remember that there was someone very close to the next house. Then we stays in this house in Shamra then in Mafuluku area, and it's always like a room and parlor, but we are only the one that stays in the room and parlor, being on Baba or Lololowo. The rest people in that compound are always in the room apartment. But in our own case, we occupied a room, 2 rooms in the building, and so they see us as someone that is very rich. So then a couple saw me, and they decided then at 5 that okay, we will send her to a nursery school. And my parents said no, they don't have money for a nursery school. But the couple sent me to a nursery and primary school then at Mafu. So I was just the only one that did that in my family. So I was noticed from that. So I can remember that very well.
Thank you for sharing that.
How has that shaped who you are now? Because there are different angles to the result of that. It could mean that for some people, it might mean that for them, they could end up feeling that it's a given for them to be noticed. So that where they now are not noticed, which will be a normal course of life, it could create problems of acceptance for them, which may affect their behavior or their response to that situation. So, do you think that has shaped you to kind of struggle with accepting, say, for example, rejection or not being noticed?
I think it's in some cases it was a plus for me, and in some cases it happens to be a minus. It was not really a minus when I was in my secondary school, and the other one because I will not say I'm the average thing, and I always find myself what guys want to do. I will always put myself in between that I want to do it. So I was not really struggling growing at that time, but I didn't start having problems when I was really looking for where to do my NYSC. That was when kept and things like that. But the first day the man at the station manager then at Air France, Mr. Olabode, heard my voice, and I was talking when I was being interviewed at the airport. He was just, I saw the way he was looking at me, and he was asking questions, and I was giving him his answer, and that was all. And presently where I'm working now, I did my interview with my MD at the bar at Apapa poolside. There is a place they call Pop at the Papa. That was where I did my interview, and it's I always, because of the way I talk and my look, I read and make sure when I want to go for anything, I always try that. Condemn me, pass, because you will not say because the way I talk, no, go more. So I will always be prepared. So it's a plus for me. I would say I don't see anything. It has been the same way from birth to now. It's always a plus, and that's just it.
So how do you handle rejection then? Maybe you are doing something and nobody notices you. How does that impact you? One that always
one
noticed.
it's not a good one. Oh. I was rejected twice. Yeah.
How did that impact you?
I was rejected by my uncle then when we had the opportunity to work in Nestu, and he was a regional manager then. And when I was like, Uncle, there's a space in your organization, and I gave him my CVs and every other thing. He said, Tatalo fe mu odilo shishe. Oh, just stay behind. And that day, Oh fuck! I cried shit out of my eyes. I was like, I questioned God many times, and that is what I do when things happen to me. The next thing is I do question God a lot. But that day I questioned God a lot and was like, okay, why did you make me kokuku jacking kokuku bula simi loju? You know, and people like, oh bula, oh tun se bo se n sọ̀rọ̀, it will be accepted, not the way I look. And when they just say open your mouth and I do, people like, bola tu ti wele. And you know, sometimes most people will be curious, what does she have to offer? What does she have to give? So that's what makes most people listen when I want to talk. So that day I felt like the word was not for me. That was the first time I felt rejected.
Would you say that's typical of any time you are rejected or not noticed, even though it's not much?
I've never seen where I've not been noticed. I've not.
Other than that one. Okay.
No, the second one was someone I was dating, and when we we were not planning to meet with his mom that day, and luckily we met the woman, and you know, she didn't even wait to listen to my name. He was just telling the mom, meet my friend, and mama ẹ kọ fàṣẹgbẹ pé wá níbo ló ti rí àfin àti kakálòlò níyàwó tètè mọ nǹkan tó ń ṣe o. You know, say ó gbọ́ Yorùbá, and I didn't even wait for him. Yeah, gan bẹ́ẹ̀ mi ò tiẹ̀ dáadáa wọn lóhun pé mo fẹ́ bá wọn fẹ́ ọmọ wọn ni, so I walked away, but ó dùn mí níjọ́ yẹn. So it just made me to increase a lot of things about myself and to just tell myself I can do it. I hate I cannot do it in my dictionary. I don't want to see it in my dictionary. I hate you can't, I don't want it. I hate we can't do this job. I don't want it. So I don't always agree to we cannot or I cannot. So it's a plus for me. It's never a minor.
Thank you very much for sharing that. I mean, that's quite deep, and I appreciate that you were even able to come up to share that with us. Yeah, thank you so much for that.
Yeah, can I come down, sir?
Oh no, it's up to you. You can stay. You can, we
you.
still have. We still
Don't
have
come
some
down
time
yet.
to
I have a
spend.
question for you.
We still have some
Sir,
time to spend.
Omoban, no.
It's not question time yet. Sorry,
Yes, that's
other
fine.
people might want to share. Let's give the mic to other people to share. But please stay. Please stay.
Great, sir.
Yes, ma. Wow. I salute everyone, and I have much respect for those that have spoken, the hosts, the moderators, and those in the comment section. This is a topic that does not only crack your ribs, but it crack your brain, because everybody has gotten different facets of upbringing. There are stages, and if I were to speak for myself, one, being noticed has never. It's even an issue to me, because I find it very frequent that I am being overnoticed, which I don't like. They notice me anywhere and anything I do. Even when I'm silent, I'm being noticed. And being loved, I was born into a family of only my mother and my father, all boys. I happen to be the second born. My mom shared equal love. We were loved by our mom. But my dad, being a typical Egba man, had a kind of concentration on the first son. As in, no matter what happens, the first son is always being praised, being acknowledged, and being rewarded. But for me, I would say I added salt to the injury because I was somehow lazy. I was lazy, but very, very brilliant. I was lazy because my brother is older than me 2 years, 2 weeks. But whatever my brother does, they want me to do the same. Even if we go to the farm, they want me to cultivate the same skills like my brother. And for me, I don't like such. My concentration and my attention was reading my books. And any attempt not working at the rate at which my brother was working, I get beaten mercilessly by my father. My dad never had much interest in Western education. His own is, you have to be Isheowo. And I like, and you know what? My dad used to cite one example to us, to the extent that he took us to meet that man. I'm talking of Baba Obasanjo. He said Obasanjo became the head of state. He didn't go to school. And that is, he became the head of Nigeria without going to school. He's a farmer. So whatever you want to be, you can be it. Forget about all this time you waste in school. But we were not giving much attention to it. But as a father, he believed in practical work and those things you can do that are physically oriented. It got to a stage that I woke up to my mother one day and started crying that, please take me to my real father. Take me to my real father, because I don't think this is the man that gave back to me. My brother, he will smile, he will laugh at him. But when I appear in his view, his countenance, his appearance will change towards me. Though I could have been the reason for it. I was lazy. My father loved being hardworking. And at times, it's man fair dear. Though I'm an honest one that whatever I stole in the house, I give to my brother that even if I stole 10 naira, my brother can give me 3 naira and take 7 naira. And when they were looking for it, if they search and search and search, and he will say, I'm the one that stole it. That time, I was using my educational excellence as a consolation. Because I was lazy, I couldn't, even to wash my clothes became something that was difficult for me. But my education, my teachers, my schoolmates, they were in love with me. That was in my primary school days. When I grew older to secondary school, things started changing. My school, they all loved me. They all, as in God. My dad saw my performance academically, as in my teachers would say, oh yeah, can your parent come? At times they would tell my parent that, this your son is brilliant too, but he's too troublesome. That what can we do to at least caution some things? And then at times he just wear dirty clothes to school, or the button of the shirt will have removed and he'll come to school like that. That is not being monitored very well. But they always praise me for my academic excellence. That was when my father started developing interest in education. And my mom, well, what a good mother. She did everything she could to ensure that my education did not stop. My father, at times, at least he was he was contributing passively. But my mom took it as a point of duty that, okay, anything that, at times my mom would pay the school fees and tell me, don't tell your dad I've paid. If he gives you, or if he's ready to pay, I'll collect it back. And if not, well, I would not want you to stay a day in the house. I'll pay the school fees. Telling my father, they said we should bring school fees. At times he will tell you, go and meet your mommy, I don't have any money for now. At times, when he give us, go to the bank, I just give my mom, want you from Alowo. That was how we completed our secondary education, which was highly interesting. I was noticed all over. And when I grew up to the university level, it was all fun activism. I was not only alone on my campus. I was known to some extent all around campuses in Nigeria because I was active, I was political, and I was articulate. So it was fun that I can, without collecting money, I could choose not to go home for 6 months. Then there was no phone, there was no bank account that anybody can send money to. My parents will get worried that, well, one day my mom came to visit me in school. They just called me, announced that one person was looking for me. Immediately I saw my mom, I shouted at her, "Kí lẹ̀ ń wá mi fún? Ṣé mo jẹ́ ọmọdé ni? Ẹ má tún wá mi wá mọ́." I already said it, then I later regretted. I just don't like it. Will look like I'm ọmọ kékeré now. So let me just face it. Nothing has happened and nothing will happen. You are a prayer warrior. Just keep praying. I just saw her and I did send her. I allowed her to return back to Lagos. It was so interesting. Coming up was interesting. Apart from little time, I was not loved in the house. I was loved outside by everybody in the church. I was a prayer warrior, a stubborn guy, as in I was noticed, I was loved.
What a combination. To be stubborn and be a prayer warrior at the same time.
Yes. I grew up as a CAC member. So, and as a youth that was PSC in prayer, I was really very strong for God. But on the other side, I was stubborn. Nobody can do anything to me and think he has cheated me. Nobody could cheat me, and it was fun, sha. And to the glory of God, I am what I am today, not by anybody, but by grace of God and by my association with different good people. So it was all fun. Even in my in my NYSC, I was like, even the soldiers, the officials, they acknowledge the fact that. Anyway, that's it on that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for sharing. Mind Matters. Mind Matters, are you there? Okay, so okay.
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here. Thank you very much, Grexy, for sharing that. I appreciate that. I think that's part of what we're talking about. That is example for me. I don't know of others. Seem to exemplify what we meant by blueprints can get scratched. Right. So, thank you for that information, for sharing, and I'll leave it for whoever else wants to share before we move on.
Yeah, we have Zest and Ayabafe Tolu. I don't know who came in first, but let's start with Zest. Zest, are you there? Zest,
I'm here.
do you understand the question, or I should recap?
I do. The only thing I see there is definition of love seems to be so broad that I'm just going to talk as it applies or as I can remember.
Can I help you with a guide?
Yeah, go on.
Essentially, what we're essentially talking about is when you were a child growing up, when you try to create things or you try to do things, did anyone generally notice that you are trying like, oh, that's good, even though what you did, you didn't really do it well? Did they give you credence? Did they see what you were doing? So that the only time they saw you is when you did something extraordinary that everybody else noticed and then got them to notice that this guy is good. Or you did something extraordinary negatively where everybody is condemning you and say, look at you. What kind of thing is this? That kind of stuff. So that's what we are trying to look at. And how did that impact you? If you look at your adulthood through your childhood lens.
It's a difficult thing to connect, but for me, I do not see anything that was extraordinary at that time because as of then, you are raised to play in your neighborhood with other kids, but they just make sure that you have enough to eat, you have raiment on, and off you go, and you go from morning to evening. Sometimes you only show up maybe to eat and to go back again, play. So what they were after then, it's you just being in good health and being able to play with your peers. I do not really think they pay so much attention into maybe you have a talent or a gift or you're doing something. And if there were anything at that time, I don't actually think it was on display by most of us. Because at that time, there was no such attention. Let me put it that way. The time you get special attention of parents, in my own world, when I was a kid, it's only when you are sick. I mean, they never want you to be sick for too long. They take care of you. They give you whatever you want at that time. Other than that, you get whatever they give you, not what you want. So, and as an adult, maybe make me not to be so entitled because I never believed that I'm entitled to anything. I think I believe whatever comes my way, I make it work in my own way and adapt it and live with it. So when I have challenges, I take it as it's part of life. When life is good, the sky is gray, I take it as life is good. But what did I do to make sure that tomorrow, in case something were to be hard, what will I fall back on? Things like that. So I think that's the only way I can say that up or that has impact into my adulthood. So I will stop there.
So would it be accurate if I said the outcome for you was more of an approval indifference? You're not perturbed or worried about whether someone approves you or not. You just do what you got to do, and whatever comes to
I've seen him exhibit that a million times with me. He would just tell me, well, I don't care what you think. I said what I said, and he doesn't care if I approve what he does or what he says. And I think he does that with virtually everybody. He would just tell me, oh, well, you don't have to agree with me. You don't have to. I said what I said. So yeah, I think I see that in him a lot.
I was going to challenge you, but I'm just going to take my challenge back. So let me.
Because honestly, you might not know. I watch everybody. I kind of know everybody I relate with on this platform. Like, I know that about you, and when you just said it, that my mind just went straight to that. Oh, okay. You're like that, like, okay, I said what I said. You don't have to agree with me. I don't care if you agree with me or not, but I said it. Like, instead of, you trying to like reframe or rephrase so I can accept what you are saying. You just be like, yeah, I said it the way I said it, and I don't care if you agree with me or not, that's fine. Yeah.
The reason these questions arise is not to kind of dig deeper unnecessarily, but just to help people see the variation of outcomes given different people's childhood experiences. And I hope people are taking note of the differences. We are still on the story of the approval seeker, and just look at the variations surrounding the approval seeker. It's not just an approval seeker. There are approval indifference. There are people who just don't really. They just do what they do without thinking of approval. Those ones are even still different from those who do what they do and don't care about your approval. And you see all the variations here and there.
I have a Fentol. You have the mic. Are you there, Benje Balo? I have a Fentolu. I see you on mute. Well, we can't hear you. Are you talking? Our network is bad. It only has one bar. Do we go on? Mind matters.
Okay, we'll just move on to the next story. And this one is the silent survivor, the teen who learned to stay quiet and to stay safe. So this teen feels keeping quiet is what keeps them safe. Over to you, Mo. Yeah. Carry on with yours. We'll move on to the next one.
Zimi, Shashin Bomini, can you still hear me?
While I was looking that way, your box was muted, but you were talking. But we can hear you.
Okay, you can hear me now.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, let me just quickly, because the network is very bad. Anyway, well, for me, I've been cracking my brain as I hear other people talk. And I have been, like I said, in one of the sections with Mind Matters. I don't know. I think I was a very nonchalant child, as a child. I was nonchalant. I don't seek validation. I don't think I always get this heads up when my father gives me, like I said, I wasn't a brilliant child. I was always this person. At that point, now we can call it an educational stuff. I wasn't brilliant. I was not even, I wasn't keen about from primary school. All I wanted to do was I think about the end of the class to fight. And I was always, for me, it wasn't about fighting for me. It was about fighting for my friends and then my older sister that was more on the quiet side. I wasn't a quiet child. I was a troublesome child. So, and then I know that, I remember like everything I do, my father was always giving me this heads up, like Esha File, just leave her. And then, it helps me to be more vocal. I'm very outspoken, I don't know where I cannot talk, and that's upfront, or confrontational. But when it comes to talking and saying, I don't want to know who the person is. With all due respect, I will say that, but I will still say my mind. So that helps me as an adult. So for me, and it helps me, even from secondary school, from primary school to my secondary school, it helped me to the point that when I started moving up the ladder from coming last in my class in primary school, Olodo like that, because I knew that my dad will be home to tell everybody, I'm not bully, I don't shout, without just saying all those words now. But I knew my father was home to say, feel that kind of thing. And so that helped me to my secondary school when I started improving in my educational distance, and then to the university and some other. I'm very vocal, I'm outspoken, and then
Your network is not helping.
I am very daring. Too bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Let's go on, Sha.
Yeah, your network is not helping at all.
Network is very bad.
Yeah,
Network is very bad. So just let's go on. Let's go on. Thank you.
hopefully
so
to get better.
Let's go on.
the next story will speak to the silent survivor. There's the teen or child who learns through their experiences that staying quiet helps them stay safe. More.
Okay. Now, let's imagine a boy named Darian. At age 12, Darian lives in a home where arguments are louder than laughter. His father does not hit often, but he threatens loudly. He slams doors, breaks objects, and walks around with a storm behind his eyes. Darian's mother whispers warnings. Don't say anything. Don't talk back. Don't make it worse. So he learns the art of disappearance. He learns to breathe quietly, walk lightly, smile on command. He becomes fluent in reading danger before danger speaks. By 14, his silence becomes a shield. By 16, his silence becomes a prison. At school, he rarely raises his hand, not because he doesn't know the answer, but because he doesn't have, no, sorry, not because he doesn't know the answer, but because silence feels safer than being seen. In relationships, he never shares his needs, not because he doesn't have them, but because needs invite disappointment. As an adult, Darian is the man who says, I'm fine. Even when his heart is breaking, he apologizes for existing. He shrinks in rooms where he should stand tall. The world calls him quiet, but quiet is only the mask. Inside him lives a boy who believes speaking is dangerous. Silence keeps me alive. Let's ponder over this. Okay, to our listeners, think about a time in your childhood or teenage years when you began to hide your voice. What did silence protect you from? What did it cost you? I want to invite more people into the box. If you think you want to share, but if not, you can equally write your comments or your questions in the comment section. Dr. Mox, I welcome you. Since you've not been with us since we started, I will implore you to please listen and know when you can come in. Thank you. Zest. Are you there, Zest? Or I should move to Omoba? Okay. Omoba, let me explain further. Shewambe. Omoba ti gbe go beg Friday lawa. All right, Study Mika, are you there?
Baba Ukati Jebalo.
Okay. So, if you understand the scenario I just painted of a child that, was made to believe that your silence keeps you safe, from his home front, upbringing. So were you that kind of child? And what did silence protect you from?
What did it cost you?
Or what did it cost you?
For me, being not really that I was silent. I wasn't. I was just not too sure when I see people, and I don't feel too comfortable when there is crowd. So that makes me to, even when I do go for my therapies on my speech, once I see crowd and people, I still don't feel comfortable in talking. When I'm very used to you, I could to talk properly. So I would say that makes me, people think I'm quiet, and it's not as if I am. I'm not troublesome, but most people think I'm quiet because of that way. And what has it cost me? Oh, yeah, yeah, I can remember because there was a time I don't want to talk to anybody, and my silence make me not to be able to even tell my parents when, those health center that comes to schools. They came to my primary school then, and they conducted a test and asked my parents to take me for further investigation in the hospital. But I did not tell them, and I did not know. So later on, most times when we are sweeping or doing one thing or the other in the house, and I would start coughing and doing many things, and because of there was no money, we were just a normal family. There was nothing to say, oh, let's go for medical checkup. The child, it was just a family like that, and we're just like that and like that, sha. And I could not even remember to tell them, oh, they said this when I was in school, when they came one day that they should go and do a test concerning when there was a dust in the school. It was an inter sport, and I slumped, and they were like, why? And the doctor that came, the Red Cross people that came were the one that said that. And I was like telling myself, if I tell them this again, they were like, must they spend more money on you again? Things like that. So I kept quiet until when I was like in my 100 level then, and so something happened, and that was when I was told I had asthma, and I was like, maybe if I've opened up earlier, it may not, I don't know whether it could have been much better or worse. So that's me not talking when I was supposed to have voice out. And at that time, when I met with I've forgotten the gynecologist or with something, and there was nothing he could do rather than giving me, place me on a drug and my inhaler and other things, and that is what I've been on up to now. So it's when I looked at it, it gave me too pain, because ordinarily sometimes air, fresh air, and breathing could be difficult. Then sometimes if I struggle to talk, especially when I'm in a place I'm not comfortable, it could really be a help for me, so most times. So my silence cost me some things, and then most times when
Let's talk. I think our network says, do we just move on? Okay. Dr. Max mute is paused. Omo Barry BJC, I see you are liking the live. Are you
We can hear her. She's still talking. We can hear her.
Oh, you can hear her. Why can't I?
Yeah.
right. So
Oh,
I'm done. Thank you.
all right. Thank you.
She's still being talk.
Mind Matters, you want to say something before I give the mic to Dr.
No,
Mo?
no, you can pass the mic.
Okay. So, Omoba, are you there? Okay. Okay, Dr. Mox. So, this is the fourth episode of Mind Matters, and we're just going back to the basics, our blueprints, how we were made. We've treated the biological aspect of how we were made. We've treated, our upbringing, the walls in the house, the wall where anger is our shield, or, anger is somebody's strength, all those are. And now, this is the fourth episode, and we're just trying to look at the cracks in the wall. We've talked about the walls. Now I want to look at the cracks in the wall. And we've talked about, attention seeking, a child who was an attention seeker. That was where we started. Approval seeker, sorry. And we talked about a child who, approval seeker. And now we are on the silent survivor. So I narrated a story of Darian, who was brought up to understand that your silence is your protective shield. Once you are silent, you are protected. Silent various instances in the house where things will happen and the mom will say, don't talk, just be quiet, and you will be out of trouble. So now, growing up, going on like that, even in school, when a teacher asks the question, even though Darian knows the answer, but because he feels like he needs to be quiet, he will not raise his hands to answer. So just look at the progression. I know you know these things. Look at the progression to adulthood. Now, as we are adults, from our behaviors, our way of life, dealing with these things, going back through these things, we ourselves will be able to visualize our childhood and see, what kind of walls and, cracks and whatever got us to this point. So the question now is, looking back at your own childhood, think about a time in your childhood or teenage years when you began to hide your voice. What did silence protect you from? What did it cost you? So, Dr. Mox, you have the mic.
All right. Thank you very much for the opportunity, and I greet everybody in here. I say well done, and frankly, as you've always been, wonderful discussion. I will use my own personal experience, just like my sister used in here. As you know, I'm an advocate and an advocate of sickle cell anemia. And for me, I was a child that grew up in a very, very good home. It was a nuclear family. We never had any other steps or so. It was just myself and other three siblings, an elder sister and two younger ones. And for me, it happened that my parents were old, and I think in their time, maybe they never knew. You understand? And my dad is 87, mom 77. Just try to think about their age and how it was like then. So they never knew what all these things were. And the lab too had a problem. The laboratory in which they went was saying that my mom is AS, that AA, and they married themselves. You understand? Unfortunately, the laboratories back then too gave me a result, because when I was just sick and they'll be like, what's wrong with this guy? See, the eyes is yellow and things like that. I was like, laboratory gave them a result of AAS too. So while growing up then, it was difficult for me because they did not know. They felt I was pretending. Then we had an almond tree in front of our house, 2 almonds, if you know what almond is. We used to call it away fruit.
Fruits, yeah.
Fruit, yeah. So numerous, you know. When it falls like this, in fact, it will be like snow. You understand? Especially when it's dry and brown. Mom will have to, because we do this at house chores. I'll have to go out very early in the morning, 5:36. It was very cold. And the moment I do it, I start feeling bone pains. I start feeling this. The moment I'm holding my hands or my legs or anything, they all knew, they all tagged me. I'm pretending. Sometimes they expose me to cold while washing plates or clothes and things like that, and I get cold. And they do not know still, because most of the time is that I'm holding my head, I'm holding my hands. Sometimes I go to play football with my friends. I was very good with football. And what happened? You understand? When I come back or things like that, they'll be like, hey, is this, is that? So they didn't discover until I entered secondary school. Imagine. It was in my secondary school year when I was in Abeokuta Grammar School back then, and I had a tummy upset because I ate a lot of chocolate and everything that they brought to me. And they discovered in FMC. It was so painful. My mom was like, never. My dad was. And look at the moments they always shut me off, I became silent. I never wanted to tell them I was feeling this again, because what would they do? They'll tell me I'm pretending. There was no test to confirm. There was nothing. It was just all the suffering. So that my silence kept me up until I got to that secondary school and I was diagnosed, and their way and manner, attitude changed to me. In fact, they were so full of regret and things. But in me, you understand, I had determined to seal my fate up. I have determined not to, you understand, because I was bitter. You understand? And they tried everything. I was this kind of a child that in a year I would have visited, in a month I will have to visit hospital like 2 or 3 times. In a year, it was then everything started coming out because I was now on my own. The immunity while I was young was much, but now because I'm on my own, it came. I started having leg ulcers, started having all those chronic issues that comes along, complications. I still didn't want to say anything to anybody, because my brother also said something to me sometime, and it was like, don't I think that the affection that they give to me, that they also need it? Do I think I'm the only child? It hurt me so badly because I felt they all loved me. Talking about my siblings. You understand? Not until when we grew old and they saw the exact pains, they saw what I was going through, did everybody now started coming off. But I had already built up that resentment in me, because I even asked God, why? God, why me? So that's led me, but fortunately for me, I was able to get a doctor that sounded like a therapist, and he told me that I should always voice my problems and complain. You understand? And till date, that silence has hurt me. I don't want any of my children or anybody's children to go through it. I'm an advocate and I speak as loud as I can to be able to help. Even relationships and things like that. I speak about anything, family, but health is the main thing. And that was what it has caused. It really damaged me. It really put me in a state of loneliness. I was isolated. I'm full of regrets that why me? But thank God, I'm still pulling up, and the problems are still there. You understand? There are times I'll be in the hospital for months, days, blood transfusion and everything. But most people that hear me speak, they don't know what's going on. And that is also my silence. Painful, hurtful, but at the same time, life goes on. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing. Honestly, me myself, I'm shocked to hear you say that, because I've had a stepson that suffered sickle cell anemia, even though we lost him sometimes back, but I know what it is. I've seen it. And for a child to go through that without the parents knowing, not having attention, people thinking, oh, he's pretending, that is even moving me to tears. So I'm so sorry about that. So, yeah, mine matters.
I appreciate you for sharing that rather how will I put it, deep and intensive experience. You know, Thank you. That's all I can say for now.
Thank you so much. I'm grateful.
Next person.
Ayaba Feyitolu, you still want to share on this silence, or we should just move on? I think we should move on. Ayaba's next.
I'm sorry if I put the platform in any state. I just
No,
wanted to share.
that's
So
fine. Don't. You see, for
Don't be
me,
sorry about it.
yeah, it's fine.
Of course,
This period is an emotional period for me. Any time from November till the end of December, every year, I'm always on the edge. I'm always emotional. So just don't mind me. It's okay.
all right. Thank you very much.
plus the platform. That's what we're trying to encourage.
Yeah.
Don't forget the title of the show is Back to the Basics. So the Back to the Basics is to try and help us cast our minds back to when the blueprint was clean, so that we can begin to see what actually happened. Because at that time, we really didn't understand what was happening, or what happened, or how it impacted us, or might impact us. And so many adults today are high functioning. They don't know, they've not revisited their foundation, let alone observe the rooms in the house they have built, let alone even check their roof to know what kind of roof it is and all of those kind of things. And by roof, we mean values, the things you stand for. In the last episode, we explored the three joys, that no matter what happens to you, when you remember those things, you laugh, you smile, they give you joy always. We talked about your 5 non-negotiables, that no matter what happens to you, those 5 things will never change, and on like that. That was last episode. So today we are looking at the cracked walls, because we've moved from foundation to the rooms, and now to the roof is a building. We were all built one way or another. We're built from the genetics we got from our parents, the script they gave us, which many people might see as being, for example, being born into a religion and being taught that this is how we do things, this is what we know, this is what you do. You already were living that script even before you understood what was going on, what it was all about. And we'll be lying to one another if we say those things do not kind of make us who we are today, or at least affect who we are today. Your environmental experiences, the experiences with your neighbors, with your uncles, with your extended family, friends, peer, groups, schools, all of those kind of things eventually come together to shape who we are now and how we think. So that's what we are trying to do. In doing this, it may help a lot of people answer some questions that they've not been able to answer for so long. And we believe one thing, which is that if we can change the way you think about a subject matter, we definitely will change the way you feel about that subject matter. And because how we feel affects our response to something or someone, you'll find that if your feelings change about that subject matter, your behavior towards it will also change. And this is what we are trying to achieve with Back to Basics. So thank you all for continuing to share. We'll move to the next, probably the last story that will help us kind of explore what we are looking at. And that is the overworked adult. This adult is a human who has no language for joy, only survival. Mo? Up to you.
Yeah. So finally, imagine a woman named Elena. At age 8, she becomes the second mother, cooking dinner, helping with siblings, cleaning, translating for her parents. Childhood ended early. There was no room for joy, only responsibility. At age 16, she works 2 jobs, not for spending money, but to keep the lights on. At age 25, she works herself into anxiety. Her body is tired, her heart is numb, her identity, the one who handles everything. She does not remember the last time she laughed from her belly. She does not remember what she likes. Not food, not music, not hobbies. Ask her about joy. She freezes because she speaks the language of survival. Not joy, not peace, not ease. If life were a house, her blueprint has been remodeled into a factory. Everything built for output, nothing built for rest. One day, a friend asked, "What do you want for your birthday?" And Elena realizes she doesn't know how to want. She only knows how to work. She only knows how to endure. She only knows how to keep going, even when her soul has stopped. Not because she is broken, but because somewhere in her past, a child learned rest is a luxury. Joy is a distraction. If I stop, everything will fall apart. Let's think about this for like 5 seconds.
And in our thoughts, I just want to point out something. All of these examples that we're using, all of these stories we are using, they are real life stories. We changed the names just to give protection, confidentiality to the people concerned. The point is, these stories are real, and these stories should resonate with some of us. And we see the things from this story and feel like they'll be useful to point out what we're trying to help us see. So again, approach it with utmost sincerity, because like I always say, it is your journal, it is your journey. We're just here to help decipher, find out how we got here, or how you've journeyed so far, in order to determine where you want to go from here. So may God continue to lead us all. Think about it for a minute.
So, to our listeners, take a deep breath and I will ask, when did you start replacing joy with productivity? When did survival become your default? Does your adult life feel like a home or a factory? We don't need answers to that. Just think about it yourself. And whatever answer you have, just write it down somewhere. Mind my
Yeah, it's yours too. Whatever you write down from these episodes that we do is yours to go back to reflect on and use as you please. It's your journal, it's your journey. Well, again, it's not a must for anyone to want to respond to the questions. The questions are more for you to respond to within yourself and for yourself. But if you want to share, please, by all means, you're welcome to share too. Okay.
Just for listening purpose, can she please repeat the questions again?
Okay.
Okay.
Just to listen, yeah. Thank you.
Okay. So when did you start replacing joy as an adult now? When did you start replacing joy with productivity? When did survival become your default? When does your adult life feel like a home? No, does your adult life feel like a home or a factory? Using the example of Elena, the way her life was structured. So looking at your own life now, when did you start replacing joy with productivity?
And don't forget,
Peradventure,
looking
your
at
life will not be like Elena's.
yeah, and don't forget, we're looking at one of the cracks in the wall, because it's the crack in the wall we are looking at this minute. We're just using these stories to identify those cracks, and this one is the overworked adult. Hence the question.
So we just use Elena for, like a point of contact to some people that they don't even know what joy looks like. They only know how to survive. Ask them what brings you joy. They can't even say, because all their life they've not really experienced joy. It's when you experience something that you'll be able to say, oh, what does joy look? Oh, joy was when I won a scholarship, right? Oh, joy was when I had my first whatever. But for some people, all they've done their life is just survive from one thing. As they are solving one problem, getting into another, and most of the time not their own problem, other people's problem. It may be family. They may be like the firstborn that has to care for the siblings. So all they've done is, Rennie, àbúrò ẹ̀ wọ school, she just paid her own school fees, or probably she just got a job, just paid for her house, and the next call is àbúrò ẹ̀ wọ school. Stepping out from paying our own bill, start running around trying to pick more hours to pay for the siblings' school fees. And before that one comes out, before she ended that one, oh, your daddy has to go for his operation. We need money. She has to pick extra hours again, just surviving, solving problems. And she never even had one day to sit back and say, oh, this is what brings me joy. So that's what we're talking about.
Yeah. Also,
I
there's
think
an
have
additional.
something to. Oh, sorry.
Yeah. One 1 minute. There is an additional aspect to that. It may be that there are people who believe they are being productive gives them joy.
Sorry,
Which is
mindset,
why
is it your volume or you are intentionally speaking low?
is it me? Are you talking about me?
Yes.
Yes, please.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Can you hear me better
Yeah,
now?
sometimes we are struggling to really hear you.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry
And
about
you
that.
are saying some valid things here that we actually need to know.
Yeah, he
Pick
has
something from.
bedroom voice, but trigger him, you would know he can speak louder.
Okay, now I'm not triggering, but for this purpose, please, can you just raise it a bit?
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
All right. So what I was saying is that another angle, another side of the mirror, is where there are people who actually feel like being productive or productivity gives them joy. But then again, if you strip everything away, you come to find out that actually they don't have joy. They're using productivity to replace joy. You know, and once you people like that, once there is something or there is some sort of bar or some challenges with their productivity, that's when you will see how depressed they actually are, or how much of joy they do not have. And and that's a separate issue. Like I said, is another side of the coin where those people feel. And if you've been following us in the previous just before we got here, last week we did talk about the three joys that things that when everything does not work, when everything is taken away, those three things give you joy. So if you're able to identify those three things that give you joy, no matter what, then you can begin to see yourself differently. Like, okay, perhaps it's not productivity that gives you joy, you actually have joy. But if you can list three things that give you joy, no matter what you are going through, no matter the issue, then perhaps there is a lacuna there that you need to explore even further with the view to resolve it. So this is the kind of thing we are talking about in this one, where we have the overworked adult. So I don't know if that helps put it in perspective for you.
Dr. Marks, did you hear that? I thought Dr. Marks was the one that asked the
Yeah.
question.
Actually, to be truthful, no, I didn't ask. I think it was Ade. Yeah. So, but truth be told, I struggle to hear, but not so much. Mo kàn tó ṣe mindset lé ní voice mi ó
No,
kàn
but did
deep.
everybody else hear me?
Friday voice ni ẹ̀ dẹ̀ ń hit àwọn points kan, but màá tún gbọ́ mù tí.
Did everybody else hear me?
Doctor, èmi ni mo móhùn wọn dání, doctor, èmi mo móhùn wọn dání.
Ẹ kàn gbọ́.
Yeah, definitely it is that. And you see that.
Mi ò gbọ́ nǹkan kan ẹ láwọn.
Okay, anyway, we're just talking about some other people who probably, think being productive or productivity is what gives them joy. But when you strip everything back, they end up finding out that actually they have not had joy and they don't have joy. So that's the other side of the mirror to what Mo was explaining the other time. And if you were here last week, it speaks to the point of the exercise we did last week, where we asked everyone to look deep within themselves and write down 3 joys that no matter what happens to them, no matter what happens in life, no matter what they're experiencing, those 3 things always gives them joy. Some people might not find those 3 joys to write down. And that perhaps that's an indication for them to look deeper into that with a view to, finding solution to it. Because at the end of it, there are many different mental health situations that have to do with loss of joy. And one of them, that's homework for those who might want to know. One of them is called dysthymia. I'll just leave it there for now. Sister Deimka, you wanted to say something, so I think I'll leave the mic for you.
All right, thank you for repeating. I'm grateful. I don't know whether Sister Deimka wants to say something, but I also want to chip in something. You see, people. Okay, go ahead.
I want to. Okay. Sorry. Okay, for me, I will remember some. There was a time that I felt everything was. I mean, it's getting better, and things were moving well, and I was like, it is settled, and when you have this mentality that once you finish your university and maybe you are doing your youth service, and after that, I'm going to the world and start making money and start buying those things you have been dreaming about in life, and bloom, the joy just went up one day, and it was so bad that it took everything away from me, and I don't think I've recovered from it, but I'm better, and but sometimes I do ask myself, if those things did not happen then, will I be more better now? And sometimes I'll tell myself I may not, because I'm very sure I will not work hard, and I'll maybe relying on, he will do this for me, he will do that for me. So it's possible I will not be where I am today. I can't stand to tell myself this is what I'm able to achieve on my own. rather than depending. So I don't know. I don't know. I think I need to move to the mic now. Thank you.
Well, let me just, if it's any consolation, um, I hope you can hear me clearly. If it's any consolation for you, we are all interdependent. We're all
Okay.
interdependent. We all need one another for one thing or the other. And for those who might want to ask that, I'm independent and all of that. Well, perhaps you should think about whether you are the one who makes the clothes that you wear. And if you are the one who makes the clothes, are you the one who made the material with which you sewed the clothes? Are you the one who printed or designed the money that you spend? So, are you the one who's selling the tomatoes or whatever it is you buy to eat? So long as other people create those things that you enjoy, we are all interdependent. So if that's any consolation, depending on someone does is not a sign of weakness. It's actually a sign that you are a human being and we are supposed to be integrated with one another, one way or the other.
Okay.
All right, thank you. If I can also say something about that, it's majorly. I'm so sorry. Okay, do you also want to say something?
No.
Sorry.
Go on. Yeah, I thought no one was sharing you.
All right, yeah. I want to point out certain things when it comes to what people or see as success or the achievement or whatever that we are trying to target at. You see, some people have been traumatized in life. You understand? And when you say it, sometimes deep trauma, the only is it resolution for them now, or the only way to comfort themselves is the energy they put into the work. So you see some people that their life is more or less like dedicated all to their work, which is more or less like the success to them. You understand? Why are they this engrossed? Why are they this so much into the work? It's because they are running away, or they don't want to remember, or just want to take their mind off certain things. And the moment you remove that particular one, or you remove their success, it's more or less like you are destroying them, because that's the only thing they see as an achievement, especially when you are being faced with failure severally, you are being faced with people coming at you, you are being faced with people that you've actually depended on, and you feel like, oh, that dependence, you understand, will last a longer, and all of a sudden it falls short. So if you are in that kind of category, you understand, in which sometimes I do, you understand, to be able to see my success in my field. And most of the time when they say, Dr. Okola, this, no, is this, despite the fact that is a little bit the way it is. And that was what also pushed me. They forced me not to do anything. Go and do a 4-year course. Go and do this, go and do this. My brother, I told you that the success was the only feed or the only energy for me to hold on to. Because even that 7-year course, medicine, I was in and out. I spent 10 years. 10 solid years instead of that. So that was a success to me. You understand? And if you kind of now take anything away from me right now with my achievements and other things, my brother, it's going to be a whole lot of pain, because there's nothing to resolve to or resolve at. Thank you. I just wanted to share that too.
This is why we're inviting and supporting people to look inwards, go back to the basics. Because the first step to
Oops. Sorry.
because the first step to resolving a problem is to always to acknowledge that there is one. But again, how do you acknowledge there is a problem when you can't even see the problem? So this is what we are trying to get at. With that, would move on to. I would want us to have a reflection moment, and would want to ask Which story in all of these three stories mirrors a part of you? You don't have to answer that question. That's for you to consider. Um, so, is it the approval seeker, the silent survivor, or the overworked? Which one touched something inside you? Which one felt uncomfortably familiar? Which one made your chest tighten? And perhaps, maybe even brought an old memory back? Which one? At this point, I would invite you guys to, take a moment, place your hand on your heart, and whisper to yourself, I see the part of me that survived. You know why? Because you are here today. And that means you survived.
Okay. So, to our listeners, whether you are in the box, in the comment section, or on FYP, kindly speak to your feelings and reflection from today's episode. Mind matters.
Okay, in the meantime, guys, I know maybe if anybody else wants to talk, we'll give you the mic in a minute. But in the meantime, we need to acknowledge the fact that global conversations on masculinity, mental health, migration, race, and justice are urgent. And that is why the book, The Audacity of Manhood, Making of a Man, asks, what does it mean to build a humane, resilient masculinity when history, culture, and institutions have trained you for hardness? This book is a story driven, idea rich memoir exploring the concepts of migration, family, faith, law, work, love, and the slow craft of healing. The Audacity of Manhood offers a rare breed of personal memoir, practitioner insight, and cultural critique, speaking to the readers hungry for authentic healing narratives. Where other works interrogate masculinity or memorize trauma, this book uniquely integrates social care frontline experience, lived migration struggles, and a tri-continental perspective. So, The Audacity of Manhood, Making of a Man, written by will be available in paperback and hardback for purchase on Amazon on December 18, 2025. You will do well to grab a copy and see for yourself what we're talking about. It's not a textbook, it's not a storybook, it's a map. A map that hopes to resonate with people who are raising potential men. There's mothers who are raising boys to become men. Perhaps they will see from there and understand that men are built, humans are built, especially men, and it takes an audacity to become the kind of man that nature really intends amidst all the struggles of life. So, guys, grab your copy, and we'll be very glad to have your feedback if you wish to share it. Thank you all for being part of this journey. And remember, you are worth more than you give credit for. We'll continue our journey at the same time next week, and I hope to see you all again.
Yeah, mind matters. Dr. Moses, I saw you said you have a question, but just permit me to quickly add this. We will be having our end of the year dance, because if I say it's a party, with party comes food, but unfortunately, TikTok has not done that aspect of the app that you can share food. So we'll be having our end of the year dance on Friday 19th of December. So that will be after Mind Matters on that Friday. But towards the end of Mind Matters on that Friday 19th, we'll have a little time to launch the book, Audacity of Mind or Audacity of Manhood. Just to support Mind Matters, we want to launch that book. It will be available for purchase on Amazon, like I said, from the 18th of December. So we just want to, launch the book in our own little way towards the end of that episode before we go into our end of the year dance. I hope to see you all. We invite you, come and have fun with us. It's been a long year, and I want to believe we all have something to be thankful for. So let's just come together and have a good dance. So, Dr. Mox, you still want to ask your question before we end today's
No. Thank you so much. It was just more on the something, but maybe whenever we have our next session, all this success of the thing, you understand? It, no, I'm just. It's a personal observation that
Yeah, absolutely.
I would like to ask you that. Do you think success just comes because we really do want it, or do you think we are successful because of the pressure that we needed to face and conquer? Let me give you an example. A woman might really not be that successful until she breaks up with her partner, and eventually she puts her energy into other things so much and she becomes successful in life, and you begin to wonder, what was that drive? So if you and some other people, they just see success as a natural path. Do you understand? That they did this, they did this. I want you to answer that. Do successes from trauma, do they last?
Okay, so let me start with by saying this. In all of our sessions, and even today, I did mention high functioning. The word high functioning. Okay, so and another thing I want to point out is that success is relative, and it differs from one person to the other. What is success for you
Okay,
may not be success for somebody else. So it's
for the
really,
other
really
party.
relative. And you need to understand that person for you to understand what success means to them. In fact, you can only understand what success means to someone through the person's lens. And believe me, don't be shocked that it will be different from yours. Even if it's so ever slightly, it will be different. So now, when talking about success that came about from trauma, I can break that down to many different things. Some of those successes that you are saying are successes may come from exploiting other people, and I will explain why. There are people who've gone through trauma, whether childhood trauma or other kind of traumas and all that, and the outcome for them, what it led them to become, is exploiting other people, and that is how they got their success from. Think about a situation of a black widow, for example. A black widow, the concept speaks to women who are serial hunters of men, take advantage of the men, fleece them dry of their wealth or potentials, and then dump them soon as they've taken from them. Now, these women might be doing this because they had some sort of trauma when growing up, or some personal trauma from maybe even a past relationship that really devastated them. And they decided that all they're going to do, or the way to be safe, is to indulge men a little, collect whatever they have, fleece them, and then run away before they realize what has happened. Right? Now, that is the mild part I've just talked to you about. Some go as far as deleting the man in order just to take over what he has. So think about it that way. You will see that person and think, man, they are successful. They are, they went to school, they have money, or whatever it is you think makes success for them. But these people are serial and they are not well. So how do you explain that kind of success? So there are many different variations of it. Some of them they steal from other people. Yeah. And some throw people under the bus in order to, because they have come to believe from their experiences that, look, ìtorí kéèyàn kan lè ṣoríire ní tèèyàn kan fi ń bàjẹ́. There are people who live with that mentality that in order for somebody to succeed, somebody else must
Títí tẹnìkan ò bá bàjẹ́ tẹnìkan ò lè dàbí. Ó ga ọ.
So would you then consider their supposed success a success? Again, so it is very relative, and that answer is not a straightforward one. You would have to look at it.
All right, thank you very much.
to determine.
Yeah.
You know what?
It's
I'm so sorry. I've not been with you, but I've been with you, eh? So this last point you made actually got me, and it made me to remember meeting a client and a prospect, not a client, because we end up not doing any business together. And the man at that time was a chairman of a brewery in Nigeria, but the family lived here. Wife had arranged for us to meet, so I met with them. And the guy was talking to me. We were talking about success, talking about business and things like that. And his own idea of success got me so rattled that I find it so difficult to comprehend. And he said that, in business, people just, the more you can take from the next person and over to yourself is what makes you to be successful in business.
Wow.
Let me just put it that way. That is what he meant with everything he said. And I felt like, wow, that is not business. That is not business. So eventually the guy did some business here. He failed, of course, because he probably have that kind of mindset. And nobody's going to be able to stand that kind of a person. Because even me in advisory role over personal finance, I cannot work with him. How much more some other people that he has to maybe work with them daily and things like that. Because I just find it, no wonder we are where we are as a people. Because how will you be in that kind of position and have that kind of mindset that business is all about what you get from other people? And the more you can bring people under you and rip them off, kind of. Yeah. So that's why I decided to talk now. So sorry, I'm still driving.
Do you know how many victims he might have even had, sir? How many victims he might have had?
Thank you very much, Zest, for sharing that. And that underscores exactly what I'm talking about. Some people live with the mentality that cheating other people means you are smart. You are smarter than them. So they live like that. They are convinced about it, and sometimes to talk like general people, it will only take God to make them think differently. So for me, success is a relative thing, and it varies from person to person.
Okay, so that brings us to the end of today's episode of Mind Matters, and we are still on Back to the Basics. I hope to see every one of us, and please invite people. If you have really gained something today, please invite other people. We are not charging anything. This is kind of like a therapy session that takes you back into your foundation, looking at how we got to where we are, what are the things that made us who we are, and what changes we can bring about. And this will help us to bring up our own children to become better adults than we are. So, hope to see you again.
Because after all, they are the leaders of tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. So, that is end of Mind Matters anyway, not the end of the live stream. So stick around. where we do our normal Friday, whatever shenanigans. So, but serious business has ended. Now we are back to Lagbo, like my friend Zest will say. Thank you all for joining us. Now I can breathe and be myself. Omoba, come back and receive all the answers to your shenanigans in the comment section. Zest bolenlo, bolesimbo.
I just got home. I was in transit.
Okay. All right. Let me play music for a while for our people to come in. All right.
I may end up changing my phone too.